Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Newsbeat on Metro Television, coming to you live from the Akwa Bohema studio here at North Village in Accra. My name is Efwa Ando. Coming up in the next 60 minutes. Against the National Communications Authority on the cancellation of registered SIM still pending as the NCA and Telcos Chamber remain mute and plight of customers. Former President John Dramani Mahama touts is unbearable the failed fight against corruption by the Nana Akufo-Addo-led administration. We will speak with an anti-graft campaigner on the role of these two statesmen in the corruption fight. Residents of the Volta region expectant of the completion of key projects as President Akufo-Addo begins two-day tour of the region. Plus, King Charles III makes his first visit to Parliament as monarch, with MPs and peers offering their condolences for the passing of Queen Elizabeth. Former President John Dramani Mahama says the Nana Akufo-Addo-led administration has failed in the fight against corruption. His comment comes on the back of infractions cited in the 2021 Auditor General's report. The former President John Dramani Mahama said the country is confronted with major challenges and needs to eschew greed to foster development. He noted that self-centeredness has been eroded despite the strong foundations laid by our forefathers. Now, speaking at the Grand Derby to mark the climax of the Asokli Yam Festival in Ho, the former president called for a concerted effort in dealing with the canker. Let's listen to the former president.
The NPP government has completely lost control of the fight against corruption. President Akufo-Addo, in his inaugural address, promised to protect the public purse. Today, even that public purse cannot be found. The revelations in the Auditor General's report for 2021 is simply a microcosm of the real extent of the seeming institutionalization of corruption under this administration. I'm glad that you're using this festival to draw attention to this important national issue that requires the support of all citizens to address. The economic hardship in Ghana today is unbearable. Cost of living has increased significantly because of rising inflation. Prices are changing in the market every day, and this makes it very difficult for the ordinary Ghanaian to survive. To make matters worse, the cost of agricultural inputs is also rising consistently at a very fast pace. From my interactions, I've been told that the cost of fertilizer in the region has gone up so much that is making it difficult for farmers to be able to afford. And that makes me fear for next year, because this is the planting season, and the farmers cannot afford fertilizer. What they are doing is some are planting without fertilizer, and others plant only the acreage for which they can afford the fertilizer. And so if he was doing 10 acres, and he can afford fertilizer for only 3 acres, he will cultivate only 3 acres this year. And so I'm very afraid for what will happen next year in terms of food prices in the market. Similarly, premixed fuel that our fishermen rely on has also become very expensive. And apart from that, it has become scarce to access in the riverine areas in the Volta region, because it is being hoarded and diverted. A lot of the premix is being given to party executives instead of fishermen. And the fishermen have to go back to these MPP party executives to buy the premix at a higher price than the government is offering it.
Joining us via phone is anti-corruption campaigner Vitus Azim. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Azim. Former President Mahama says the NPP government has completely lost control of the fight against corruption. What is your assessment of President Akufo-Addo's fight against corruption?
I totally agree with what President Mahama has said. It's like maybe they have just thrown up their hands into the air and given up on the fight against corruption. You see, the fight against corruption goes beyond mere rhetoric, making promises and assuring people that you are determined to fight corruption. It is action that is necessary, and we don't see the action taking place. And so definitely they have lost. I don't even think there's any fight against corruption. There's a lot of talk about corruption, but there's no fight against corruption.
In other words, he hasn't delivered on what he promised Ghanaians?
He hasn't delivered what he promised Ghanaians. He was described as being incorruptible and ready to fight corruption. And on the day he was sworn in 2017, he promised to protect the public purse. But we are not seeing that happening.
Now, what do you make of assertions that the creation of the Office of the Special Prosecutor is one of the most important steps towards the fight against corruption? By the creation of that office alone, has President Akufo-Addo not demonstrated enough commitment to the fight against the canker?
You see, it is not the creation of institutions. We have the Auditor General, we have the Audit Service headed by the Auditor General. We have the Commission for Human Rights and Justice. We have the Economic Organized Crime Office. Office of Special Prosecutor is just one more addition to these institutions. But the mere existence of those institutions is not enough to curb corruption. You need to resource them. You need to strengthen them. You need to give them the independence to do their work. And that's what is lacking. The Office of Special Prosecutor was established in 2018. Up to now, they cannot boast of a regional office. They just have one office in Accra, and even that, it was after a lot of effort before they got that office. Full-time employees are lacking. You depend on secondary staff. The clearance to employ enough prosecutors and investigators is still pending.
Now, Mr. Azim, let's look at the way forward. We've been talking about this over and over again. What do you think can be done to change things?
One, you see, we have an anti-corruption action plan, National Anti-Corruption Action Plan. It spells out clearly what we should do. We need, the public education is the first one, which we are doing. The media is doing very well with some of us, telling the people the negative effects of corruption. The second thing is the prevention, passing the laws and establishing the institutions, which we have relatively done. We have very good anti-corruption laws. But the third stage is the problem, prompt investigations into credible allegations of corruption and acting on them. That's where we are found wanting. Sometimes the president will say they should do investigation. Before the investigations are even carried out, he himself says, oh, people have been found to have done nothing wrong. And then where we expect action, the action is not coming. And you just look at certain examples. For the Auditor General's report, you saw what happened to Mr. Domulugo. The Auditor General's report are just really ritual. No action is followed up on them. Even when it's clear that some people have taken money that they have not been able to account for. How can you be fighting for corruption if you are not following up with people that have taken money, which an audit service has established?
And we also have a role to play, you and I, right, Mr. Azim?
Yes, we have a role to play. I said, the first thing is the public education that you and I are doing. But we too need to resist corruption. We need to condemn corruption. And then we need to report corruption. Especially the journalists can gather information and report, get evidence and report to appropriate institutions. And then civil society can come out and demonstrate like they did last week, calling on the audit service to surcharge, disallow and surcharge certain people that have taken money illegally.
Anti-corruption campaign of Vitus Azim there. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Very much appreciated. High life musician and political activist Kwame Asare-Obeng, also known as A+, has filed a suit at the Supreme Court challenging a directive to block all unregistered subscriber identification module in the ongoing re-registration exercise. A+, among other things, is seeking for all punishments expected to be rolled out after the deadline be dropped until all Ghanaians are served with the Ghana card.
The ongoing subscriber identification module SIM re-registration exercise with a demand for a Ghana card or health insurance card has led to the deactivation of many numbers of various subscribers who have signed on to the various telecommunication networks. This has employed the wrath of A+, known in real life as Kwame Asari Obeng, who has filed a suit against the National Communications Authority and the Attorney General. In his suit, A+ is seeking a declaration that upon a true and proper interpretation of Articles 2, Clause 23 and 296 of the 1992 Constitution, the directive as given by the Minister of Communications and Digitalization, Esla Owusu Ekufo, to ensure all SIM cards that are not re-registered by September 30, 2022 will be blocked, while the National Identification Authority has not been able to issue the Ghana card, which is the only card to be used in the process, is arbitrary, capricious, and amounting to an abuse of discretion, and same is unconstitutional, null, void, and of no legal effect. The plaintiff is also seeking the Supreme Court to suspend sanctions to be rolled out by the National Communications Authority (NCA) if subscribers of the various telecommunication networks fail to have their SIM re-registered before the deadline.
We are asking the Supreme Court to stop them from enforcing that directive. One is in an election year, they're able to put verification machines and everything in every polling station or constituency or whatever, and make sure that they give every Ghanaian a voter's ID card in a month. Voters registration is done. Everybody in the remotest part of this country, they give them voters ID cards. And so the minister cannot come and tell us that when it gets to Ghana card, they cannot do it. They must be able to do it. They must be able to give people cards. The extension does not mean anything if the NIA itself is saying that there are 1.5 million people who have registered but have not received their cards. So that if you can extend it for 1,000 times, so long as the people have come to register and you have not been able to give them their cards, but the extension means nothing.
Though the application has been filed at the Apex Court, the respondent, the Office of the Attorney General and the National Communications Authority (NCA), from a deep throat source, is yet to be served with the suit. The court is also on recess, yet to resume in October 2022.
Now, residents of the Volta region are expecting the President Akufo-Addo, who has started his 2-day working visit of the region, to complete key projects started before his tenure, a new project as well. Apart from commissioning new project, the President is scheduled to inspect ongoing ones and confer with traditional leaders of the area.
President Akufo-Addo is attending the opening of the Ghana Bar Association conference in Ho, to be followed by an interview session on Stone City Radio. He will then depart to Peve to inspect the progress of work on the Eastern Corridor Road and the Agenda 111 Hospital project, both in South Dai constituency. In Pando, the President will call on the chief of the Akpene traditional area and inspect the construction of the steel bridge to end the day's schedule. Day 2 of the tour will begin with a visit to the 66th Artillery Regiment Military Barracks in Ho and an inspection of the Ghana Secondary Cities Support Program at the Ho Central Market. President Akufo-Addo will then depart to Aflao to commission the Aflao Community Day School in the Ketu South constituency. He will proceed to the North Tong constituency to commission the North Tong District Magistrate Court after a courtesy call on the paramount chief of the Bator traditional area to climax the visit to the region. Metro TV's Volta regional correspondent has been speaking on the expectations of residents of the region.
A lot of things from the president as he's coming to commission some few projects that they have completed already. They are expecting that most of the projects that started by the government should be completed so that they can commission, so that they will be happy. If there is, fine. If there is not, then the president will start doing something. But some also are asking how many projects have the government initiated in the region. So this is one of the issues some residents are talking about. But today, as we'll be hitting the phone today, we are going to see what the president is here to do today in the Volta region. The Eastern Corridor is one of the major issues the people in the Volta region have been talking about. Then from there, the various educational projects and the Agenda 11 by the government that they just started. And those are the things the people in the Volta region are expecting that maybe before end of his term, he can complete all these projects before his 8 years come to an end.
The Attorney General and Minister of Justice Godfrey Yeboah-Dame has congratulated the Ghana Bar Association for the support they gave the Electoral Commission during the Supreme Court hearing following the 2020 general election. He has called for further support from the bar. He was speaking at the bar's annual general meeting conference in the Volta regional capital, Ho.
Even though proven to be untrue at the trial, collectively the vote is a figure 6,652 votes. A number which was so patently insignificant to materially affect the outcome of the election, in which the winner won by well over 500,000 votes. It is important to note that the total number of registered voters in the last election was 17,027,941. The total number of valid votes cast definitely less than the turnout was over 30 million. Without belaboring the point, I allude to these figures to demonstrate that the appetite of the people of Ghana to freely choose their leaders in a generally acclaimed best way remain the same even in the team of COVID-19. I consider it fitting as leader of the bar to call on lawyers to support the Electoral Commission as presently constituted to persist in its quest to deliver for a nation a free, fair, and credible election capable of measuring up to the test of international standards at all times. And also for the bar to resist the misguided and parochial efforts of certain characters to undermine our democracy through unwarranted attacks on the Electoral Commission.
Ahead of his Volta regional tour today, President Akufo-Addo signed the Book of Condolence, which has been opened at the British High Commission for the late Queen Elizabeth II. He paid glowing tribute to the late monarch, who was head of the Commonwealth, to which Ghana is a member state. Here are excerpts of the president's short event.
It's sad, we all have to go, but it's sad that she's gone. I'm going to take the opportunity also to wish the king the best of luck on his tenure. He's been here with us a few occasions and is a good friend, and I'm confident that he'll do a very good job in her succession. So we wish the best for our arrangements. I intend to go to London for the funeral. I don't know whether you have anything in particular to tell me about that.
The invitations have been sent, so they will be with your High Commission in London. They were sent over the weekend, and we'll make sure the arrangements work smoothly between your team there and our team here. We won't be doing any formal external engagements organised by ourselves. So as I say, the Anglican Church here in Ghana is keen to hold a service of commemoration and celebration. We do also have condolence books open. If people would like to sign in public, they can come between the hours of 11 and 3 to our office, our chancery here. Or there is also an online version that people can sign if more convenient. If people check our social media accounts, they will be able to find all of the details there.
A communications team member of the National Democratic Congress, Gabrielle Tete, and the communications team member of the New Patriotic Party, Ellen Amadao, says just like other parts of the world, the British monarch had its fair share of injustices. Hence, people who have scores to settle with the British Kingdom should learn from the past and move on.
She's leader of over 56 countries that are part of the Commonwealth. There are a lot of colonies which have still not been able to gain full independence, and consistently she has to administer governance of some sort on these countries. If I say one thing about Queen Elizabeth, for me, one admirable thing, after the Second World War, when she took over the throne, Annie, it was that time that a lot of the colonies under Great Britain got independence. Great Britain at the time, fine, they may have had their, may have been weakened by a war, but they were still powerful enough to have gone and exerted power on those colonies, like how the French still have Francophone West Africa and Francophone Africa under their feet. But she gave those countries their independence. And for me, there's one thing that I'm taking away from her rulership, her rule, and the Elizabethan era.
But as I was growing up too, I also realized that they also have their issues. And it's not all rosy for them. Yes, our gold went to them. Yes, our minerals went to them. It's not just Ghana. I mean, I had some of the gems in their crowns from South Africa. But then we were the conquered. Or what do I say? We were the conquered. And so it is understandable. I agree with Ghana when she says that we should forget about the past. No, we should know about the past. Take lessons from the past and then move on. They have a 1,200-year-old monarchy. I mean, 1,200. It's over how many centuries? 12 centuries?
12 centuries, or 13.
12 centuries.
12 centuries.
So they've had the time and the space to properly streamline them. But when you read the history books, it didn't start like this. It was terrible.
Away from that, communications team member of the National Democratic Congress, Gabriela Tete, says the president has lost the fight against illegal mining and must keep to his words by resigning.
Knowing the dangers that these chemicals poses not just to vegetation, to fish, aqua life, and then to the indigenes who live around these rivers, plus the Ghana Water Company, which also has to find some way to purify the water to make it wholesome for the general Ghanaian population. If I look at the state of our rivers, if I pull the white water and I start to follow the tributaries of the white water, and I see that the colors, as compared to the rivers that are flowing from our neighbors, from Burkina, what is flowing through Cote d'Ivoire, what is flowing through Togo, into Ghana, and I'm following the tributaries of these rivers, and I find that the colors keep changing as I move downwards. And these are the zones where I know that Galamsey is actively going on. I'm going to question, how come that 3 years down the line, we are not seeing a change in the water? Granted, when they put the first embargo on this small-scale mining, the water started clearing. However, when the ban was lifted, after you're supposed to have put in some measure, it's back to square one. So obviously, something is failing us in this system. And I'm a systems theorist. So when one aspect doesn't fit, I have to question where is the fault coming from. And obviously, it leaves much to be desired.
All the things he has put in place, all the fight against Galamsey, all the bad press he enjoyed, all the insults, everything, he is still working through his ministers, through everybody, to make sure that this issue is solved. And then you can't tell me that he has failed. What is your measure that he has failed? How do you measure that he has failed? The man is president for 8 years.
What were your
And so until he is done his presidency, it's not just with this Galamsey issue, it's with everything that he said he would do. That is when you measure. But right now, if you are asking me, he should take the consequences.
What should we
How
measure?
does he take the consequences?
Measure the president's
What
by?
parameters have you,
no,
or have all of us as a country put in place for measuring our presidents? We do that when it is time for elections.
Ellen,
and the man said he's doing it. We can do the gradual. Let me finish. You can do the gradual and going through his policies and what he's doing. This is one of them. One of the measures that he's put in place to make sure that when somebody does the wrong, the person is arrested.
So watching Newsbeat is still to come. Aggrieved Men's Gold customers present their petition to President Akufo-Addo. Welcome back. Good to have you with us. Aggrieved customers of Men's Gold have for the first time petitioned the president to put an end to their lingering losses and allow the law work. My colleague Esther Japan was with some aggrieved Men's Gold customers earlier today and has more in this report.
Enuti na mami di misika. Ekotu obo na baso. Obo na baso side ni ko tu mfo ntimi hu side na minim se eye papa. Enuti na mami na adu mugidie na minya nti na mami di misika no kotu ho. Enu na amama blabo aye basa say yo. Mini baby da, mini baby say, just can call hospital.
Me here misika. I need my money because me invested 86,000 our men's gold. And then, through that, me benya infection or many. A year kwasi for your corner more fear me yako tata. Emma yenya infection ye jane inti me tissue ye. Me ti bo me ti kwano bo hono. Ene ma ne affecting many. Se me hu ade. Yes me fa 180 million embra for surgery. Me nya bi ye.
Today is the 4th year since Men's Gold was collapsed. And we have gone through a lot. Our lives have been butchered. You can see with me here the children. Tomorrow school reopens. But the big question is, how do we even fund their school fees? It is not easy for us. I know one of them will be doing the actual presentation to Honorable. But we want to draw his attention that this morning, we remember in 2019-2020, our president, His Excellency, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, came up with a government policy, and in that policy, they bailed out customers of the failed financial institutions. So this morning, according to Article 72, even though that one is about judgment, but the summary of it is that President has the powers to reform people, to bring them back to normalcy. We want a special presidential intervention in this Men's Gold matter, that the president should look on us and show us his greatest mercies so that our monies locked up in Men's Gold could be paid. We'll be very grateful if the president give an order that our locked up investment should be paid.
It's a matter of great concern and it's worrying. But you see, the question is, so what do you do? I mean, that is the great question. And that is why gradually we pick it up one after the other. The law enforcement is doing their job. The legal process is on. Is there anything else that can be done, for instance? Which is why the customers are still pleading. They are a voice of thousands, hundreds of thousands, who some of them who are even hiding and not want their faces to show. I mean, that is the fact. But the question, as I said, it's a multi-million-dollar question. What do we do? How do we deal with it? And that's a very difficult one. Let's be proud that as a nation our laws are working, and that is why Yoko, for instance, had to go into that detail in bringing him on board. I'm sure as I speak now, all his assets are on record. As to its value, it will be difficult for me to tell. I think that as we speak now, the courts would know, because before you put somebody before court, a lot of evidence must have been established before his process.
The leadership of the Ghana Private Roads Transport Union has indicated it will soon communicate to the public new transportation fares following the incessant increase in fuel prices. The price of petrol per litre has crossed 11 Ghana cedis and diesel sells for over 14 Ghana cedis per litre at most pumps. Public Relations Officer of the GPRTU, Alhaji Imoro Abbas, in an interview said they would have no choice but to increase if nothing is done immediately to reverse the trend.
We have informed the public about the 10% threshold, which we entered since July, and we've been able to sacrifice July up to today, thinking and hoping something will be done about the fuel prices. We suggested some of the taxes and levies should be taken off, but as it is today, all we are saying is if nothing is being done, we can no longer sacrifice them to our leadership will assemble and whatever decision taken will come out with it. This week our leadership will meet. Anytime they meet, whatever decision nothing is being done, from look of things, the possibility of coming up with a new upward adjustment, well, shall be announced.
Yes, Sante Hines Mare Hine Bafo Dr. Osei Shiaman Brintu, the faith has expressed worry over what he has described as a neglect of Asante by the ruling New Patriotic Party in terms of development. According to him, the Ashanti region has been the voting powerhouse of the ruling party. However, it has been deprived of infrastructural and social development.
You vote and you debate by me. A day and I to aba regions bear a do ever to Abama MPP. A dear number the year. Bibianya who say, and Kola Nipa Bebre, sorry, I said you Kumasia Basano. Nasabi Mima Kway away. Mina, Yade, a friend say no. So Bono Albome. Sani say wunti. Yentia taxi bia my nana yasin sase na nana no moton me kura I want hanti ma me wa haya franchu me ton asase bia ho.
Our population is so high. If you compare our population to most of the districts in Ashanti, we are the third most populous, 246,755 or so, with only one secondary school. It is a problem. But we have put things in place, and maybe next year we will have about 2 or 3 new day SHS coming on the stream. Having said that, it is not overambitious because, like Nana was saying, we have technical people who have the idea about College of Health, and we are going to put all of them together.
You're still watching Newsbeat. Up next is Business with Kenneth Jesse.
You're welcome back to Newsbeat. My name is Kenneth Jesse. In business today, the latest 2022 Human Development Index report reveals that for the first time since 1990, more than 90% of countries saw their Human Development Index decrease in 2020 and 2021. Now, according to the resident representative at the UNDP Ghana, Angela Lusigi, this global decline in HDI was unprecedented.
Over the years, the concept of human development has evolved and adapted to include additional components that increases human well-being, freedoms, and opportunities. This year, the Human Development Report themed Uncertain Times, Unsettled Lives, Shaping Our Future in a World in Transformation, focuses on the ways in which new layers of uncertainties are interacting to exacerbate existing crises. According to the resident representative at the UNDP Ghana, Angela Lusigi, the report will shape debate on the significance of human life rather than the focus on the economy.
And these reports have helped to shape debates by going beyond income as a sole measure of development, because human development is all about expanding the richness of human life rather than simply the richness of the economy in which human beings live. These human development reports provide us with a snapshot of development, and they also reveal critical concerns that guide governments, public sector decision makers, and other stakeholders, so together we can chart pathways to sustainable development. The aim is to transform the process of human development so that we can create an environment in which people, individually and collectively, can develop to their full potential and lead productive and creative lives that they value.
She further called on stakeholders to help advance proper solutions for human development.
This report will expound more on this time of great uncertainty and worry that we're all living in. We know that all is not well, but all is not lost. We cannot solve today's problems with yesterday's methods, and this is a key message from the report. We need to adopt innovative ways of tackling increasingly complex and interconnected challenges. As UNDP, we've already started exploring portfolio approaches to see how to tackle interconnected and complex development challenges. by looking at them through a system lens. We're happy to share our learnings from this process with government and stakeholders as time progresses.
When uncertainty translates into unsettled lives and human insecurity, it can increase polarization, impacting processes of social choice.
Now, the Bank of Ghana has issued a strong warning to banks and specialized deposit-taking institutions to ensure fairness and transparency in the delivery of information via digital platforms. This new directive is contained in the Disclosure and Transparency Guidelines for digital financial services and products provided by these parties. The proliferation of mobile devices and access to technology has created a viable environment for the development and creation of services based on these devices and technological platforms. This is being done to protect consumers who use digital financial services by ensuring that institutions that provide these services do so in a transparent and fair manner by disclosing to the customers and prospective customers all the information that is necessary to enable the consumer to make informed decisions about the product. According to the Disclosure and Transparency Directives for digital financial services and products provided by banks, specialized deposit-taking institutions, and non-bank financial institutions 2022, digital service providers must ensure that all materials provided to consumers are clear, complete, accurate, understandable, and not misleading, regardless of the delivery channels. The central bank insists that, in the case of continuous breach, an additional penalty of not more than 50 penalty units shall be imposed for each day the breach continues. Bank Forex rates from the Bank of Ghana today, September 12, 2022. The Ghana cedi is trading against the dollar at a buying price of 8 cedis 25 pesos and a selling price of 8 cedis 26 pesos. At the Forex Bureau in Accra, the dollar is being bought at a rate of 10.02 Ghana cedis and sold at a rate of 10.23 Ghana cedis. Against the pound sterling, the cedi is trading at a buying price of 9.5703 cedis and a selling price of 9.5815 cedis, as compared to Friday's trading of a buying price of 9.4507 and a selling price of 9.4618 Ghana cedis. At the Forex Bureau in Accra, the pound sterling is being bought at a rate of 11.50 Ghana cedis and sold at a rate of 11.80 Ghana cedis. The euro is trading at a buying price of 8.2974 Ghana cedis and a selling price of 8.3065 Ghana cedis, as compared to Friday's trading of a buying price of 8.2016 Ghana cedis and a selling price of 8.2105 Ghana cedis. At the Forex Bureau in Accra, euro is being bought at a rate of 10 Ghana cedis and sold at a rate of 10 Ghana cedis 20 pesos. The South African rand is trading at a buying price of 0.4763 cedis and a selling price of 0.4769 cedis, compared to Friday's trading of a buying price of 0.4752 cedis and a selling price of 0.4758 cedis. At the Forex Bureau in Accra, South African rand is being bought at a rate of 45 pesos and sold at a rate of 80 pesos. The Nigerian naira is trading at a buying price of 52.6955 and a selling price of 52.7948, as compared to Friday's trading of a buying price of 52.8188 and a selling price of 52.9231. At the Forex Bureau in Accra, the Nigerian naira is being bought at a rate of 12 naira for every cedi and sold at a rate of 15.50. And that's it for business. My name is Kenneth. Jesse. Phil John Corte is standing by with the latest in sports. Phil, take us away.
Well, thank you very much, Ken. Up next, we'll bring you the latest in sports. Premier club Accra Hearts started the Ghana Premier League new season on a bad note. They lost to Duana Star by a goal to Ndoma. Let's hear Samuel Buedo.
It's very bad to lose such a game. I think the boys did well, and they created a lot of chances, but they squandered all the chances. But it's rather unfortunate that with a little mistake that cost us a goal. So we are not down. We are not down. Even though we have lost the first game, we have to go home. We have to go back and prepare very well so that we can the subsequent matches will do well. I believe that the mistake that we saw it here, we are going back and correct that mistake, and we have to approach those matches ahead of us.
Well, that's your midday sports. My name is Faye John Kwati. Head is standing by for the latest in showbiz.
Thank you, Johnny. It's now time for entertainment news. The Ghana music industry has witnessed media stakeholders criticize Ghanaian artists for not mounting bigger platforms or going international. However, Sarkodie think otherwise. In a conversation, he has hit back by saying local presenters have no moral right to criticize artists if they've not done anything international. Now, media personality and radio presenter Sammy B had this to say about Sarkodie's comments.
The media's constant comparison and criticism of Ghanaian artists is something most artists complain about. For them, it shows a lack of support from the media. The likes of Shatta Wale, Sarkodie and Stonebwoy have spoken up about the lack of support from the media. Sarkodie had this to say in an interview.
But if you did radio for Ghana for close to 20 years, where you know if you come enter Choice for here, or BBC, I don't think you have the moral right to talk about artists where they Ghana will no move. Because me I go BBC because Komla Dumont will make a go. Right. Because that's the Ghanaian way he did there. If I ask Ghana, if you get chance go to Choice FM, the first thing go talk this thing like we do for Choice. For real. A brand say we make a come do Indigo. For real. Because in the Ghanaian way he gets access. So he putting people on. So that the whole ecosystem is new people for move.
On his part, says Sarkodie shouldn't have generalized, but rather mention names of radio presenters he feels do not have the moral right to criticize artists.
When you are making an accusation or making a comment, address it to the particular niche of, people that, the group of people that you want to target this at. I mean, not all radio station personnel who have had countless experience or 10, 20 years experience never had the opportunity to go to BBC or work have not contributed to making the media, what it is today. I mean, there are so many examples. I am Kweku Sechiado. There are so many other people. So he should have been rather specific, in citing instances and naming names, for example, and not generalizing it.
Well, moving on, Apple Music has launched its Soul September campaign, spotlighting the new wave of Africa's beginning R&B and soul scene. The campaign features exclusively curated playlists from debonair crooners from the continent, including Nigerian artists B.O.G. and Arastar, Kenyan Doyines Karun and Xenia Manese, Ghanaian singer Kamido, Botswana singer Titosi, as well as South Africa's vocal talent Boston Yalo Yagami, Fila Lalala and Mas Baby. Each carefully curated guest playlist features the artist's favorite R&B songs of all time, alongside songs that have been vital in helping them create and craft their own distinct sound. The collection will also include the best new African and international R&B soul releases, as well as all the hottest breaking tracks, music videos, and artist essentials playlists. Well, that's it for entertainment news on Newsbeat. My name is Harriet Adiefwa.
Thank you very much, Harriet. Up next is international news.
The UN says 3 of its peacekeepers in Mali were wounded after their patrol vehicle hit a landmine. The incident came a week after a peacekeeper was wounded in Mali's northern Gao region after a UN convoy hit a landmine. Several MINUSMA personnel have been killed in similar attacks since January. Groups close to the military junta in Bamako have organized protests to demand MINUSMA's expulsion. Relations between Mali and the UN, whose peacekeepers have been in the country since 2013, has deteriorated in recent weeks. Residents under lockdowns in areas across China are complaining of shortages of food and essential items after China's zero COVID-19 policy requires strict lockdowns was introduced. Tens of millions of people in at least 30 regions have been ordered to stay at home under partial or full lockdowns just after a handful of cases were reported. China recorded 949 new COVID-19 cases across the entire country today. The policy has prompted rare public dissent from citizens and has also been accused of stifling economic growth. Authorities are scrambling to contain local outbreaks ahead of the Communist Party's Congress in October. King Charles III makes his first visit to Parliament as monarch, with MPs and peers offering their condolences to him and the Queen Consort today. Making his reply, the king said connections to his darling late mother were all around Parliament, which is the living and breathing instrument of the nation's democracy. He will now travel to Edinburgh, where the Queen's coffin rests at the Palace of Holyrood House. The King and other royal family members will walk behind the coffin as it goes to St. Giles Cathedral for public view.
We're in Newsbeat here on Metro Television. My name is Ifwa Ando. Have a good afternoon.